Joining us now, I think, without a doubt, Don Trump Jr.'s speech on the second night of the convention, if not the best speech of the convention, is like in the top one or two. And I received so many texts and tweets saying, well, wait a second, we need to run him as soon as possible. I said, well, this is the talent runs in the family. He joins us now, and he's very busy. So nice to call in. Don, how are you? Good to talk to you.
I'm doing well, Laura. Thank you very much. Yeah, I keep getting people tweeting me on social say that we got to go Ingram Trump 2024. So, you never know. Maybe there's a future in this for us.
I'll be your vice
Yeah,
president.
that's fine. I was giving you the lead initially. You had a little bit more experience.
Okay. Yeah, I got a few years on you, a few experience, but I'll pledge to be president just for a couple of years, then I'll just turn it over to you, okay? Because a couple of years is fine with me, and then you can have the rest of it for the next 6. So that'll be fine. First of all, you were phenomenal the other night. Before we get into the other issues. You managed to connect with the crowd, Don, in a way that I have not seen someone of your age. You're a political neophyte, but you got up there and you hit every mark. My only question to you is, how many times did you practice that speech? Did you write it yourself? Give us a little of the background.
Well, I worked with some people that are professionals, obviously. Had to add my own flair into it. I mean, there's, I do a lot of public speaking, so I'm used to that. But this was a whole new level for me. I mean, even the stadium, but not totally discounting the 35 million people watching, at home, waiting for me desperately to totally blow it. So, worked with some great people, got a lot of advice from them. Then obviously had to do a lot of cutting and put as much into in my own words and in my own thoughts and experiences. So it was a really good mix of both, and then it was about delivering it properly. And I felt good about it. I wanted to do it. I saw some of the old speeches from prior conventions. Even grown kids of candidates, and I got the fluffy joke stories about this, that, and the other. And you know what? For me, I feel really strongly about where we are as a country. I feel strongly about what my father can do, certainly when you look at it relative to our opposition in this case. And I couldn't take that opportunity with that stage in that magnitude and squander it, making silly little family jokes. So I tried to make sure that people got my father. They understand the connection, the way he brought us up. And, while I've always said, he's the blue-collar billionaire, but that's really what it is, and he values the hardworking men and women, in the blue collar, and those are the people he brought us up around and that we started working under. Because if we're going to build a building one day, well, we better know how to dig the ditch that holds that foundation and have done it ourselves, or we're going to get ripped off. So I tried to combine both of those messages and still have a political context to it.
No, it was phenomenal. I mean, absolutely one of the best speeches I've heard in a long time. Let's talk about what happened last night. I got a chance to talk to your dad for a couple minutes as he was making his way to the box. Your reaction to Cruz's comments last night, but more importantly, more pointed were his comments this morning. You just heard it, talking about how your dad maligned his family, maligned his father and his wife. He was defiant. Your reaction?
Listen, I think there was a lot of malignment. I think even from from him as well. He plays the angel, but that's never been the case. He's pretty good at that. Listen, honestly, I think people have seen through him, and if there's one thing this cycle has done, is exposed a lot of that. I think, having been there and having thrown my father over the top, I was on the floor when that happened on Tuesday. I got to do it myself as a delegate from the state of New York. It was awesome. And I mean, again, other than the birth of my children, that was about as surreal a moment as you could possibly have. It was really intense, and I felt like I had just won the NBA championship in that very arena a few weeks ago. It was crazy. Everyone was into it. There wasn't this divisiveness that I keep seeing in the media that they're trying. You have Mike Lee, Cruz's best friend. He's running around looking for a TV camera. Never met a camera he didn't love. Pulling off his credentials and throwing them onto the floor in this dramatic fashion, and then 2 seconds later, when the camera turns off, he picks up the credentials, he runs, tries to find another camera. I'm like, wait, didn't I just see you do that about 50 yards over there?
Hey, Don.
It's so phony, it's so ridiculous, but it creates a message. So I'm watching this.
Hey, Don.
This divisiveness, it doesn't really exist. And if there's one thing Ted did, was he united everyone. Because they all said, oh my God, enough is enough. You know, look at the alternative. The alternative is Hillary Clinton. Are you crazy? So Ted did the best job of pushing everyone into the camp. If there were any stragglers, and I didn't see many, but if there were any stragglers out there, he united them behind my father, so I think he did a phenomenal job.
We're talking to Don Trump Jr. for a few more minutes here on the Laura Ingraham Show. Give us a taste of what your dad might say tonight. The approach, will he get into kind of laying out the steps to American renewal? What can we expect?
Look, I think he's going to work on all that. I know there's been iterations going back and forth for a while now in terms of the speech. I haven't had a chance to read the final because I've been a little preoccupied myself.
Yeah.
The whole family's working really hard. I was really proud of what Eric was able to do last night. I'm sure Ivanka's going to crush it and make us all look bad tonight. She's going to do a great job. So, you know, we've been running around. But listen, I know he's going to stay true to what he is, and he's going to be speaking to the people again. You know, it's not going to be about the elites. It's going to be about speaking to the American people. He's always going to be himself. Good. But, you know, it is going to be a very distinct, you know, message for the people that have gotten him here, that have gotten him here with, you know, record numbers. They've gotten him here turning out people that are independents and from the other side. You know, and again, a lot of those people, as you know, couldn't even vote in the primaries because, you know, you needed to change your affiliation 9 months before. Well, the problem is, you know, 9 months, people didn't even know my father was running when you had to do that. You know, this is going to be a really interesting race. When you look at the demographic map that I'm seeing right now, you know, states like Oregon, where we're like -1 in a state hasn't been in contention in decades. If you look at, you know, Connecticut, where we're tied or even, and then you think, you know, I haven't seen a commercial that isn't running that's a Hillary kill shot, and we haven't even spent any money yet. So when we start going after her and people realize, you know, how bad the machine that they have is, how divisive it is, how it's all about them and their personal enrichment, and the enrichment, you know, not just personal enrichment, the enrichment of their buddies, that, you know, that have been on the take for decades. I think it's a no-brainer for the American people.
And, Don, do you think your dad will make an appeal that is not a regional appeal? I read somewhere that you're going to focus on 17 states, but like Pence said and Newt said, and I know we only have a minute left, like they both said, this is a national movement. And like Reagan, to me, your dad has to play nationally, not just focus on the usual states of Ohio or Pennsylvania. They're important, but nationally.
100%. 100%. I mean, listen, there are states that are going to go one way, there's states that are going to the other, there's states that are in play, but we're putting into play states that just would never otherwise be in play. I mean, we're going to put New York into play.
You'll spend money there?
I'm not saying we're going to win it. I'm not going to say, but we're going to spend money there. We're going to spend time there. We're going to make sure those people know, because I can't drive around my home state, and I spend a lot of time upstate. I'm all over the state. There's a lot of support there. You know what? We're going to make her spend time there. We're going to make her spend money there. It's not going to be a gimme. And that's how we're going to win this.
Well, I think in upstate New York, I was talking to a lot of the New York delegation yesterday. They are all fired up for Trump. Don Trump Jr., thanks for spending some time with my audience coast to coast. We really appreciate it. I'll see you tonight, and phenomenal job on Tuesday. We'll take a